15-year service in the Royal Navy. His final post before retiring was as the wheel in HMS Victorious. He brought her through refit in Devonport, sea trials from Faslane, and carried out the 2009 DESO firing off the coast of Florida. Now, there are rumours that during nuclear firing chain message authentications, jelly babies are consumed. This is not something that my husband would confirm before this debate. However, following the DESO firing, Victoria's re-entered full service in 2009, and following an extremely busy year, the crew carried out a deterrent patrol over Christmas 2009. And it gives me great pleasure to say that my granny's Christmas tree went on that patrol in 2009, and my husband, when he finally left Victorious, forgot to take my granny's Christmas tree. So I wonder if there's any crew members of Victorious that are able to confirm whether that Christmas tree, a little white optical fibre fellow, still is on Victorious.
Another thing the MOD stole.
For his role in this process, my husband received the Sink Fleet Commendation, an award which still hangs proudly in our home in Whiteinch in Glasgow. But despite the pride I have in my husband's service, my opposition to Trident has been constant. Whilst as a teenager my views were formed over the Cold War and fears of mutually assured destruction, and my earliest political campaigns, long before I ever thought to consider Scottish independence, were against Trident. Over time, the indiscriminate nature of these weapons that are designed to cause such widespread devastation, has meant that I can never and will never support Trident nor its successor. This is regardless of whether we can afford these platforms. And frankly, as conventional forces are being cut to the bone, we simply cannot. In fact, our maritime capabilities are so depleted that we no longer have any major warships based in Scotland. This is at a time when threats from Russia are at their greatest in a generation. We have repeatedly had to rely on our allies when incursions do occur. On at least 2 occasions in 2016, Russian submarines were suspected of operating off Faslane, and the UK had to seek assistance from its allies to help track these intruders. So these incursions fit a pattern of Russia testing defences, seeking crucial information about the Vanguard boats, namely the acoustic signature which allows these boats to be tracked. If Russia were able to obtain a recording of the signature, it would have serious implications for the UK's deterrent. But are we increasing conventional capabilities to help deal with this? No. We decided to scrap the entire fleet of Nimrods. And whilst the Nimrods will eventually be replaced by the P8, the first of which is expected in Lossiemouth in 2020, we have literally been playing Russian roulette for the last 10 years, and will continue to do so unless we increase conventional capabilities, particularly around the north of Scotland. Because if we were to find ourselves under attack, as has happened in Crimea, our defences are being whittled down to 2 options. We can either nuke them, or we can chase them away with pitchforks. How on earth does this make us safer? Now, the honourable member for Stirling in his contributions have said that the SNP do not speak for Scotland. OK, we may speak for some of Scotland, but our position on Trident is supported by the Scottish Government, by the Scottish Labour Party, by the Scottish Greens, by the Church of Scotland, by the Catholic Church in Scotland, by Scottish civil society. I would suggest it's the Tories that are out of kilter with the Scottish people on this. But this is a debate to commemorate the 50th anniversary of continuous at-sea deterrent. I take no pleasure in the money and resources that have been funnelled into this vanity project to the detriment of other parts of our armed forces. A vanity project that allows Britain to have a seat at the big boys' table at the UN. I take no pleasure in the money that is thrown into the maintenance and into the successor project, while at the same time we see child poverty at the highest level that many of us have ever seen in our lifetimes. But I do want to pay tribute to the men and now the women who have made the commitment to serve. People often talk about the difficulties of separation of the 3-month patrols. Well, those who have a partner on one of these boats will know that in many ways the patrol is the most settled time. The work-up period and testing, false starts, defects mean that families cope with massive upheaval in the lead-up to the actual patrol, repeatedly saying big bye-byes, only to have partners return the next day, children not really knowing if this is the time that Daddy will disappear. This puts an enormous strain on families and relationships, a strain that is not always recognised. And it's time that the MOD considered the realities of modern-day families. In the past, partners and families would live close to the base with a ready-made support network. However, recognising that spouses have careers of their own is important to a modern-day armed forces. Submariners do an incredible job and are the most highly skilled personnel in the armed forces. They have many career options on leaving, so retention issues leave serious skill shortages in the submarine service. The MOD have said that no submarine goes to sea without the minimum complement of suitably qualified and experienced personnel required to operate the boat safely, and that vacancies are managed to ensure that safety and operational capability is never compromised. But this is done off the back of submariners. Severe shortages of suitably skilled personnel meant that in my husband's last year in the Navy, he had 6 days leave. That included weekends. This is simply not sustainable. There comes a point when pride in serving cannot make up for poor conditions of service. Ultimately, many choose between service and seeing their children grow up. So I would argue that despite the money being thrown at Trident, its ultimate demise will be caused by a failure to support the personnel and because of gaps in critical skills. So as we mark 50 years of the continuous at-sea deterrent and recognise the dedication of those serving in the silent service, I would say that the time has come to invest properly in cyber, in conventional defence and in our personnel. And despite campaigning actively against the platform, I and those on my benches here pay tribute to those who have and continue to serve.
Caroline Lucas.
Thank you very much, Madam